The first 10 questions are vocabulary. The next 20 questions are task-related questions. Let's get started. With question number 16, I wanted to make sure that we understood about the direct selection tool and this anchor point. It says we can use one anchor point. We're going to match the logo to the sketch. Do not add or remove any anchors or objects. I can select the O by clicking on it. But when I choose the direct selection tool to address the anchors, the selection goes away and I can see the anchors. I only need one, and I must make my picture look like the exhibit or the answer. I'm going to click on the anchor. I'm going to click and drag the anchor down, trying to get it to look as close to the example as I possibly can. This will include getting rid of this wide area and making it more thin and sculpted by converting that point to a corner in my properties panel, so that now it looks like the example. Question 31. This question says, round the outside corners of the orange sign to 30 pixels. It does not matter if there are words inside the square. You're going to do the exact same thing. I selected the square on the canvas. This is our object. I'm going to go get my direct selection and click inside, hold shift, click my points. And remember, you can let shift go and double click a point and it should give you that corners dialog. However, if it does not, because we want to round all of the outside corners at one time. If it does not, and when you click and select like so, holding down shift, and when you double click, you get the transform panel, which looks like this. No worries, you're right where you need to be. Make sure that this box scale corners has a check mark in it and that this link is selected because it's linking all of our corners together. You only need to change one and put in 30px, enter. All of our corners are now at 30 pixels. Question 32. It says to prepare the document color space for offset printing. Change the raster effects to medium. The document color space is the document color mode. Anytime we have the word printing involved, we're going to change it to CMYK by going to File, Document Color Mode, and choosing CMYK. Change the raster effects. Effect is up here at the top. Click on Document Raster Effect and make sure this says medium and OK. Question EX1-32. This was our first example of this question. What I needed to make sure that we understood is by going to the layers panel, you definitely can see what's happening in this question. It says to use the tool to select the same color for red. Group it and name the layer red group. You will not use the magic wand for this question. You can, But they're looking to see if you understand that you can go and use the direct selection tool. That's the tool they're talking about for this question. Click on a red square. You have to go to select same fill color to highlight all of the same ones with the same fill color. Now we're going to group it by going to Object, Group. Let me open up the layers panel so we can see what just happened, because that's where we're going to name the layer red group. Let's take a step back. What we just did was this. We went to the direct selection tool. We chose one red square. We went to select same fill color. See how everything with the same color is now selected? Now we're going to go to Object, Group. So it will group all of those red objects together. And they're here. And we need to double click and name that red group. All right. Then we're going to rinse and repeat. Next is the blue group. Click on the blue tile, select same fill color, object, group, double click. This is our blue group. And okay, you can check. And you're going to do the same thing for the white group. Select same fill color, object, group. Double click and change it to white group. Now, the other thing I wanted you to see is if you had to hide one of these groups, you can either turn off the visibility, because that's what hide means. Or if you're asked to turn off the visibility, not only can you click the eye, but remember when we double clicked on these layers, it said show. You can hide it that way as well. If clicking the eye is more easier, then do that. Either way is acceptable. But read the entire question, because if it asks you to hide something, points will be taken off for you not completing all the steps of the question. All right, here's our last 8 questions, or really 7, because I just covered this question that we're not going to do in this area. Well, we are. I'll show you how to address that by going to the layers panel. This first artboard tells us to change the grid color to light blue and make it a dotted line. Let's go ahead and go to our selection tool. Here's our rulers and grids area, and we're going to click on the grid. The only way we can change the grid, we have to be able to see the grid. So just click it. Go to Preferences, go to Guides and Grid. In the grid area, this is where you can change color, style. Remember we had the grid line every, and you fill in the number, and subdivision 1. This is where you would fill in that information. Do not forget, you simply come and turn on the grid and then go to Preferences to make any changes to the grid. I'm going to turn it off for now because all of our artboards here is a question. Change the document color mode to CMYK. That's under File, Document Color Mode, CMYK. Make sure the effects are 300 high. Effect, Document Raster, 300. It is so. Recreate this shape. Well, how many points does this have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's go get our star tool. Click on the canvas. This time I need 12 points. And there you have it. Now I'm going to go ahead and fill that in. Grab my direct selection tool and try and get a point here. There we go. So I can pull that out, pull that out, pull this out, pull that out. Close as I'm going to get it. And don't forget, we practice drawing this inside of a circle. This next question says to change all the pinks, and it gave us a fill number. So if I want to select all the pinks in one single click, I'm going to go get my magic wand, click on the pinks, double click the fill color, and C is 69, M is 0, Y is 34, and K is 0, and click OK. Let's keep going down, going back to our selection tool. I'm going to left click and drag over this image so I can make it a guide. How do I make it a guide? View, guides, make guides. Now, this question is situated a little bit different because of all of these artboards. But now that I've thought about it, this is an awesome way for you to see that it's in this group, the little red and blue pieces, but that I have to go over and click, holding control. I can go and address this by clicking on their layer of all the pieces that I see. My finger had let it go. Sorry about that. So now that I have all of the red pieces selected, and all I did was click on the target, holding the control key, the CTRL. Right now, I can go to Object, Group, and double click and name it red. And again, click, hold control, Object, Group, and name it blue. Make sure the object does not have straight points. Let's make sure we're on our selection tool. Left click and drag over this. It does have straight points. So we're going to select Object, Straight Points. Now we're going to Object, Path, Clean Up. In this box, all I want is the straight points. So I must uncheck the other two and click OK. It cleaned up all the straight points off of our canvas that was around the logo. This is our last question where we're going to select all three stars, change the gradient to yellow and green by deleting that middle gradient stop. Gradient question, I'm going to go to the gradient panel, click on the middle stop, click on the garbage can, click on reverse gradient, so green is on the left. Please don't forget that if you have to change one of these gradient colors, that the stops on the bottom is where you would change that color. And they usually give you the number that they want you to put in to change it to. Okay, reverse gradient. Garbage can deletes a stop. The stops are on the bottom that controls the color. You do not slide them. You're going to use the garbage can to delete